Welcome back to playoff basketball, everybody, here on the road to NBA 2K21 on the PlayStation 5. A quick disclaimer for you guys, I'm going out of town for some Army stuff this weekend. Uploads will be a little scarce, but I will be recording some NBA 2K22 gameplay to upload in the meantime. 2K22 drops in about 40 minutes as I record this. Very exciting, and I also record some college hoops gameplay before I go to bed tonight in order to edit that footage while I'm on the road this weekend. So last episode, 3 blowout wins versus Washington, something I don't think people expected, and in turn we were awarded with a little stroke of luck. The 41-41 Boston Celtics shut down Greek Freak and the NBA's top team in 4 games to battle us in the conference semifinals. That's something I really didn't expect. Antetokounmpo posted a series high of 16 points in game 1 and failed to match that mark for the rest of the series. Giannis wasn't the only one to struggle too. Boston is a lot more solid down low than the Washington Wizards, as Brook Lopez only averaged 8 points and shot 35% on the series. I've enjoyed some modest success against Boston in the regular season. We've also played them on camera once this year. Back in January, it was a hard-fought loss. And I actually did have a fourth quarter to remember in that one, though. I posted an overall line of 17, 11, and 12 to record my first ever triple-double of the series. We ended up splitting the season series against the C's. We're 2-2 in 4 matchups against them. And speaking of matchups, my personal counterpart is someone I got a lot of history with. But unlike most characters on the road to NBA 2K, it's a pretty solid relationship that we share between me and Kemba Walker. It feels like just yesterday I was a rookie back in New Orleans competing at a chance for a first round upset. I was playing the best basketball of my rookie season against the Blazers, but of course, I ended up tearing my MCL in that series in Game 3. Kemba Walker was there for me though. After a long off season of blood, sweat, and tears, Kemba approached me in New York City before the start of my second NBA season on the same blacktop court I used to play in as a kid. And he challenged me to a little charity game one-on-one that offseason. Had a lot of fun with him, taught me a lot. That was before I was even dreaming of reaching my prime and making an NBA Finals and really owning my own team with my best friend. I mean, this was a lot, before this I had to pay a lot of dues to get to the spot in the NBA that I'm at now. It was a really good one-on-one battle between me and Kemba, but I was still shaking off some cobwebs from that injury. But at the end of the day, no love lost between me and Kemba. We both had a great time in front of our home fans back in New York City. He's also a New York City native as well. Obviously, Kemba spent his entire NBA career in the Eastern Conference. I've been in the West up until this season, so we haven't been able to see each other a lot. Nonetheless, we'll be guaranteed 3 games against one another in this series. So we'll turn over to my friends and see how they're doing and their second round matchups. Donnie and Deshaun, they survived the first round matchups, and Portland's fresh off of a very impressive 3-6 upset against the Phoenix Suns. But the road only gets tougher. The Minnesota Timberwolves came out of nowhere to post the second best record in the Western Conference. They were one of the Cinderella teams this season, signing DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall, former college teammates, and they also added Jonathan Kuminga in the draft to form a very scary team. But Portland comes into Minnesota, the Target Center, and wipes the floor with the T-Wolves. Lillard with 37 and 17, one of his best career outings of his playoff career, and Donnie wasn't too far behind him in that game. And Deshaun also took a front row seat to be the best player on the floor in Dallas's first round sweep, and they move on to face the Denver Nuggets, who actually, I didn't know this until I found out after I sim game 2, but the Nuggets are actually missing Nikola Jokic. He got hurt in their first round matchup in the final game of that series, and Denver was still able to survive. And then they also take the first game against the West's best team by 15 points. Doncic the MVP, 19 and 12, but Deshaun was a little invisible, 14 points on 14 shots. His first rough go of it here in his 5th NBA playoff campaign. Michael Porter Jr. with a career night, but let's head back over to the Eastern Conference in New York City as we face the Boston Celtics in the second round.
I came a long way from writing rhymes in a notebook. Now I'm dishing out dimes with the no look. If it ain't about a team, I don't wanna know. Nothing's ever what it seems. They should know I came a long way from writing rhymes in a notebook. Now I'm dishing out dimes with the no look. If it ain't about a team, I don't wanna know. Nothing's ever what it seems. They should know that I be real with her. Don't wanna deal with her. I'd rather hit it once so I could get a feel for her.
All right, Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in Madison Square Garden. I didn't expect to be hosting a playoff series this early in my Knicks career, but it's just how the stars are aligned. Another Atlantic Division opponent. First round we had Washington. Now we're taking on Boston. With the way the season has gone, with all the improvement we made against our Atlantic Division opponents, I talked about it so much, it's come full circle as Robert Williams wins the first tip of the first game of the conference semifinals. Boston has a pretty good offense. They're 10th in the NBA, 107.5 points per game. As for Ron, lets it fly here. No good, but in the interior, Mitchell Robinson's coming off probably the best three-game stretch of his entire career, averaging 11 and 17 rebounds against the Washington Wizards. They really didn't have an interior presence to match up with him. He broke his career high in rebounding twice in that series. 5-4 game, Knicks on top as Jason Tatum stops and pops. Nicely done there. Good pick by Daniel Tice. And speaking of Tatum, a big storyline to this season was Jamal Murray and Jason Tatum battling it out in the regular season for the scoring title in the NBA. Murray pulled away at the end, but Jason Tatum still averaged 24.6 points an outing, 42% from three, and then followed that up with 28 points a night in the first round matchup against the Bucks, 53% from three, down by 5 now. Nice screen there by Julius Randle as I break into the scoring column for the first time against our Atlantic Division rivals, Boston and New York. Classic rivalry, and on this possession, a little bit of turbulence. That pass is picked, but I get it back for a second chance. 3 seconds, I'm gonna have to improvise here, stopping and popping on top of Kemba Walker. Behind the back move, really crisp move there on my, I don't even know what to call Kemba. Do I call him a friend or a rival? I think I'll attribute him to being a frenemy, I guess you could say. So 15 and 9, turnover there by Ferran. Boston's really making it hard for us here on the offensive end in the early stages, and they go out and take an 8-point lead, only 19 points after averaging over 120 points a night in the 3-game series against the Wizards. Boston a lot better on defense and on the boards than Washington. This is going to be a much better matchup on paper as Tatum fires to begin the second quarter. No good there, but we're still down by a baker's dozen as Tatum now falling to 3 of 11 on the night. Nice move there on Kemba. Jump off pass to K. That's a little bit long. Tipped around into the arms of Jaylen Brown. So Kemba will then lead the break. A little pull-up jumper from 14 feet. No good, but Robert Williams on the interior. Boston already holds a pretty good advantage on the glass. And it looks like New York is taken a little bit back by the surges on the glass by their opponents. We're not used to this right now, but Mitchell Robinson gliding to the cup with a little windmill finish. He actually led the NBA in field goal percentage in the regular season, and most of his looks from the floor are plays just like that. Now on this possession, still down by 13 as Jaylen Brown makes the best pass we've seen all night long. And that was mostly on me. I shouldn't have helped out with that late in the shot clock. Jason Tatum catching and firing from Jaylen Brown. Meanwhile, I'm still struggling to find any assists tonight. That lob to Mitchell Robinson was the first of my assists on the night. I'm still only sitting at 2 as now Tristan Thompson checks in and gives Boston another look at it, but this one's rejected by Mitchell Robinson, and I'm waiting for a teammate to help me out, and that one will go over to Ferran, who's been struggling a little bit tonight. A lot of length on this Boston defense. He's going one-on-one against Jaylen Brown, who is widely regarded as a star stopper. So we're going to have to get really creative in finding Ferran good looks at the rim. Nice catch and shoot opportunity. And looks away before that one even tickles the twine. Very confident shot. Ferran, nicely done there. Now down by 9. We have it under single digits, and it's under 2 minutes to go in the first half as well. As Daniel Tice helps out way too far out. He was at the free throw line extended, so that's an easy lob over the teeth of the Boston defense. He tips it in. So now only a 7-point deficit, 6 points and 4 assists to my name up to this point. 49-42. Jason Tatum will catch and fire once again, but he actually hasn't really had it tonight after his incredible performance against the Milwaukee Bucks. And then from 15 feet, nice job looking for the pass for Ron. He's always looking for me when he knows I have the ball in my hands. Nice shot of MSG right there. You're starting to see that mentally we're starting to get back into this ball game. I mean, the crowd's starting to believe, MSG on their feet. We're only down by 5 as Brad Stevens burns one. And the game was 49-33 in Boston's favor with 5:32 left to go. But in the final 5:32, we closed the half with 15 unanswered. So, beautiful job by the Knicks not getting down on themselves, and it was really mostly due to the bench why we still have a fighting chance in this one and closed the gap so quickly. I mean, take a look at these splits right here. The starters scored 26 points but only shot 12 for 30 for the Knicks, and the bench unit 22 points, but 10 for 14 from the field, including 3 for 3 from Obi Toppin and Boban Marjanovic, leading all scorers for the Knickerbockers with 13. He only missed 2 shots himself. So those splits are pretty telling right now. Looks like the bench is having a lot more success than the starters, and you could probably say the same thing about the Celtics themselves. Jason Tatum 5 for 19. I've held Kemba to 11 on 14 shots. I've got 6 points and 5 assists to my name up to this point, shooting 50% from the floor, 0 turnovers so far through the first 22 minutes. So we'll begin things here in the second half, looking for our first lead since the first quarter. So let's see, we got the starters back out on the floor. Little dribble handoff to Ferran, who stops and pops on top of Jaylen Brown. He fires with the quick trigger finger. Ferran only shot 3 for 11 in the first half, but he puts together a nice little possession there, putting his best foot forward, and then another design play. This time it's Ferran, this time off of 2 cross the key screens, and he will find some pay dirt from 3. Back-to-back triples for my hometown buddy. Now knotted up at 56 apiece. Boston starting to find some traction as well. Jason Tatum wide open, and he will rim it in. So Jason Tatum perhaps looking for that one shot to really get him back on track. I mean, he's 6 for 20 on the game, so I guess it's only up from here, I suppose. And even though these teams aren't really shooting well as a collective bunch, meanwhile, as I say that, Ferran knocks down triple number 3 the third quarter, only 5 minutes into these third quarter of action. He's already got 9 points, but neither team is really shooting all that well as we trickle the time down to 26 seconds. But this has just been such a fast game. The pace of play has been through the roof ever since the first quarter ended, and there's been a lot of shot attempts for each team as Tatum finds some real estate, as Daniel Tice perhaps got away with a little bit of a illegal screen, you could call it, to push the Boston Celtics lead up to 9 points, 76-67. So your New York Knicks, after sweeping the Wizards in blowout fashion, we're gonna have to play the role of the comeback kids here in the fourth quarter if we want to extend our undefeated playoff streak. Now the lead grows to 9 as Kemba drives the lane, sent back not once but twice as Mitchell Robinson climbs the ladder to silence Robert Williams' layup attempt, and I'll take that one coast to coast. Finally a field goal in the game for me. I was completely blank there in the third quarter, no shots made after only scoring 6 in the first half, but a little bit of luck on my side as I challenged the 6'9" Jaylen Brown at the rim, and 2 tough points go in my favor. I had a very good fourth quarter. The last meeting against the Celtics on camera we played, that was one of the first episodes of this season that we hopped into a game against the Celtics, my triple-double game. I had a very good fourth quarter, so perhaps I can channel that performance and this one as Randall then cuts to 5. The Boston Celtics are about league average on the boards, only about 16th in the NBA in rebounds a night, so a lot better than Washington, but still not great. They have been leading the rebound differential for most of the night, but you saw that second chance points by Randall, and then he finds me on the next break with a 3-point play opportunity, all thanks to Julius Randle. Normally I'm finding him as the trailer on the break, but then he returns the favor, dropping this pass off to me. Jaylen Brown missed a shot and was a little bit lazy getting back, so it was a 4-on-5. I found my way into the teeth of the paint right down Main Street, and Julius Randle finds me. I would knock down the free throw. Way to go, Randle. He kind of struggled in the Wizards series a little bit. He only averaged around 8 points a game, and it wasn't like he shot bad. He shot over 50% from the field, but the opportunities to score just weren't there. But he's having a good game 1 in this one thus far as we dwindle the lead down to 2 with 9 minutes to play here in game 1 of the conference semifinals. Little handoff to Ferran Nadim for 3-point play number 2 in a row for the New York Knickerbockers. Assist number 8 goes to my best friend, who's had a monster second half after only shooting 3 for 11 in the first half. 3-point play goes for Ferran, and 3-point possessions continue to come in bunches for the Knicks here in the second half, whether it's the old-fashioned 3-pointers from beyond the arc or the nitty-gritty 3-point plays at the rim. We're making good on a lot of possessions. Now Jaylen Brown tries to return the favor. That one off the back iron, and now Cade Cunningham gets into the mix on the glass. So here we go, trying to break the tie. A trap comes here, very high out, and Mitchell Robinson does a great job flashing to the strong side block, and that'll be assist number 9 for me on the night. Mitchell Robinson, for the 4th game in a row going back to the Wizards series, he finds himself in double figures. 83-82 as Peyton Pritchard. He sustains an injury while I was off the floor, but Ferran interrupts me with a 3-pointer from the weak side corner. Nice job there. The ball reversals and teamwork continue to be impeccable here in the 4th quarter as Boston tries to cut into this lead, and then nice box out there by Julius Randle, silencing Daniel Tice's attempt to grab that board, and then I find him running out on the break. How about another and one opportunity? The highlight plays continue to come in bunches. Julius Randle, he found me on the outlet pass, and it wasn't too long ago he found me for a 3-point play. How about I give one right back to him, returning the favor, and Julius Randle is excited, and so am I. I love to see guys succeed just as much as I like to see myself do well in the offensive end. That's assist number 10. I would record another one, pushing lead up to 8. And my stat line on the night, 15, 3, and 11 as Robert Williams. He's done a great job on the glass. He's already in double figures on the rebound totals, but he smokes a very important layup there. As for Ron, he did it on the right. Now he'll do it on the left. Ferran Nadim up to 31 points as we saw Jason Tatum miss another shot there. As he approaches 40 field goal attempts, he also has 35 points, but the efficiency, like I've talked about over and over again, just hasn't been there for Jason Tatum. And Kemba's been struggling, so he'll sub out for Marcus Smart, who tries to check me, but he leaves wide open. Ferran Nadim, for the 2nd time tonight, turns his back to the rim. And that one might be the knockout punch we were looking for, as the lead swells to a dozen, and we completely dog the Celtics here in the 4th quarter. We pull away. This top 10 NBA defense looks mean here against the Boston Celtics, continuing our red hot performances from the 1st round series against Washington. New series, but seemingly the same outcome. 104-94 is your final. The pace of play was absolutely insane this game. This game turned into a track meet. There were so many odd stats because of it, including the Celtics taking 109 shot attempts, yet only making 36% from the field. And it was all thanks to a career second half from my man Ferran Nadim. 27 of his 34 came in the second half. He started 3 of 11, and in the second half shot 10 for 11. Man, that's how you close out a game. Ferran continuing to put his name up there with some of the best 2 guards in the entire association. I also chipped in 19 and 12. Mitchell Robinson with another great performance, and Julius Randle had the breakout game we were looking for, 15 and 17 rather. And on the other side of things, the Boston Celtics shot 43 times from beyond the arc and only made 9 of them, and most of them came from Jason Tatum himself, taking 40 shots on the game. I know Cade Cunningham didn't play well tonight for the 2nd straight game, but if you want to play defense like that, then hey, we'll keep you in the starting lineup. You can play with me anytime. So here we'll check back to Donovan and Deshaun again for game 2 of their series. Portland shocked Minnesota in the first game, but in the second one, Minnesota took it to Portland in the 2nd and 3rd quarters, silencing their offense to only 37 points in those 2 quarters combined, and a blowout fashion win to knock things up at 1 game apiece. 122-91 is your final. 23 and 14 for Donovan, under 50% shooting, but still another great outing for him. And now Deshaun and the Mavericks were stunned by the Nikola Jokic-less Denver Nuggets in game 1, but here in game 2, no doubt about it, it was wire to wire, 130-95. Looks like Deshaun and the Mavericks got the bad one out of the way early, so it looks like they could be the heavy favorites throughout the rest of this series if Nikola Jokic does not return. I believe he's out for only 1 to 2 weeks with an ankle injury, so he's still questionable return in this series. So moving on back to our series. I wonder if the NBA is finally going to have the Knicks back on notice. We're going for 5 straight playoff wins tonight. That would be a very big deal for us here in the second round, going up 2-0 as the series switches back to 2 in Boston. That'd be a very big accomplishment, as Jason Tatum only shot 14 for 40 in game 1. And he finds a very good look, though, to begin game 2. This one swings to the corner. Kemba, contested shot, did not have a lot of success, only shot 1 for 10 in game 1. Obviously, the Celtics, that was probably the worst part of their offensive attack. They shot 21% and 43 attempts from 3 in game 1 as Cade Cunningham looks to put behind these last 2 poor performances in the rearview mirror. He gets on the board from 3. Kemba again fires. Nothing happening here again for Walker as this one swings around to Cade. Cutting back door! Air Cade! With no regard for human life as he puts the poster on top of Jason Tatum. That one reminds me a lot of the poster that Tatum himself put on LeBron, kind of passing the torch a little bit in the real life NBA. Perhaps Cade Cunningham in a few years is coming for Tatum's crown now, as Brad Stevens burns an early timeout, something he didn't like obviously, and it benefits Boston. They score twice in a row, but Kemba continues to chuck wildly at the rim, 0 for 6 to begin game 2 as Daniel Tice checks me on this possession way too easy as I'm gliding to the rim for my first points of the second game of the conference semifinals. 7-6 game, a lot less scoring so far in the first few minutes of this contest. A lot more possessions ending later on in the shot clock so far in the first quarter of this one, as Ferran forced the turnover on Kemba, and I'm open in the deep corner for 3. I shot 3 for 4 in the 3-game series against the Wizards, 75%. And there goes another one for me. I don't know what's gotten into me from deep, but I just feel so confident letting him fly. But here comes Kemba to retake the lead. Both offenses finally break into the double-digit threshold. Perhaps we're going to see some more offense like game 1 and the pace increase. That was like a track meet in game 1. I can't believe it when I saw Boston take over 100 shot attempts as a team. There's Julius Randle off of the pick and roll, coming off of his best playoff performance, 15 and 17 in game 1. 12-11 game. This one will be Ferran, up and under move, nicely done on the baseline against Jaylen Brown. The longer that this series goes on, the better looks he finds against the long arms of Brown. 14-11 as Brad Stevens once again will burn a timeout. Knicks on top, 14-11 as I check out. Coming back in here in the second half. Points still coming at a premium, 23-20 Knickerbockers with 5 seconds to go on this shot clock as me and Ferran get very creative here. Little handoff as Ferran takes off from the elbow, like shot out of a cannon, and he splits those 2 Celtic defenders to put in more points. That's just number 4 for me on the night, 23-25 now. And look at Marcus Smart, a little fadeaway over the double team. Perhaps with Kemba's struggles, I'm going to see him more going forward, but both teams still shooting in the low 30 percentile as we make more progress here in the second quarter. 28-27, looking for a bit of a cushion as I drive down the lane, and I am going to put in a layup on top of Robert Williams, who has been a menace down low. He blocked a couple shots of mine in game 1, but this time I get deep into my bag. Perhaps should have went to the line for an extra free throw on top of it. Nonetheless, I'll take those 2 points. 7 points and 6 assists. If you guys remember game 1, I only entered the fourth quarter with 7 points, so I'm scoring at a higher rate this game. Randle follows his shot nicely, collects his own miss, and it's a bit of a bunch down low. A lot of congestion as that one is blocked out of the hands of Cade Cunningham. Not the prettiest offensive set there as I'll check out. Cade began nicely. 2 field goals to begin the game for the Knicks, but ever since then, he has missed all 7 of his shots. Nonetheless, we are still up 7 as we enter the break. Ferran, the only Knick player to get in double figures, 10 and 4 for him, 4 for 7 from the floor, 3 for 7 for me as I put up 7 and 6. However, I've gotten my shot blocked twice tonight. Williams and Tice are tough to go up against inside, but Cade Cunningham, like I said, I actually wrote it down wrong on my notes. He hasn't missed his last 5 shots. He's actually missed his last 10. I don't know why I wrote 5, but Cade Cunningham for the 3rd straight game looking like it's going to be a very disappointing performance for the rookie. Not sure what's going on with him in these last few games after opening up the Washington Wizards series so hot. 14 for Kemba, 10 for Tatum, both of them still under 40% from the field, so the C's are really trying to throw everything they can at our defense, but we are still prevailing in the end, shutting down the best playmakers for the Celtics through the first 1.5 games, as Jaylen Brown goes for 2 straight 3-pointers to open up the second half. The latter of the 2 rims out as Randall leads the break, tries to find me again. I make the extra pass to Cunningham, who improves to 3 of 13 from the floor. Nothing fancy there, but Cade Cunningham finds some pay dirt from 12 feet out. It's been really interesting to see the difference of game flow in Game 2 versus the first game of the series, as I find Ferran popping off of a pin down screen, courtesy of Mitchell Robinson. Nicely done there. Ferran at a baker's dozen now in the game. But Game 1 was definitely a shootout. Obviously, I've talked about that a lot. The pace of play was insane. So many possessions ending with, 5-6 seconds off the shot clock. But so far in this game, as Kemba, he will make me pay off of my turnover trying to find Ferran on the backdoor cut. But in this game, it's a lot more shot clocks dwindling down to 5, 4, 3 before the teams find a look from the field. These defenses are really towing in here in Game 2 as I check out. Kemba will knock down 2 for 2 there. And coming back in, we have a lead of 5 as Tristan Thompson toes the free throw line. He'll knock down the second of his 2 attempts. So 69-64, Knicks on top as we force Jason Tatum into, say it with me, another missed 3-pointer as we continue to control the glass in this game. That's rebound number 44 as a team as I take it coast to coast and deliver a nice drop-off pass to Julius Randle. Good job sealing off Aaron Nesmith there in the interior. The lead swells to 9 after another field goal as I'm leading the break behind the back pass. And I must got eyes in the back of my head. Cade Cunningham in the adjacent corner. How about assist number 10? I got a chance to put up a very crooked amount of assists tonight on the scoreboard. Cade Cunningham, man, this quarter, he's starting to look a little bit more like himself. And after he knocked this one down, you can tell the confidence is still there. He will still stroke him despite a lot of shots not going his way. So into the 4th quarter now, both teams shooting in the mid-30 percentile. It's been crazy to see after Game 1 as I do a little twirl off the pin down screen. Another 3-pointer for the Knicks. That's a play we normally run for Ferran, but I guess Tom Thibodeau said he'd roll the dice with me, and I continue to be hot from 3. Good coaching there by Tibbs, knowing that I have been red hot from beyond the arc. And then look at this, very high IQ play there. I baited Daniel Tice into that pass to the corner, and then a lot of congestion there at the elbow, so I find Julius Randle left unattended in the corner. The Knicks, they grow this lead up to 15 points as we continue to pull away from the Celtics. Kemba, nothing there. He's silenced at the rim. John Fitzpatrick leading the break behind the back pass. This one will go to Ferran on the backdoor feed. Perhaps got away with a little bit of a travel, but hey, no whistle, so he played through it. Assist number 14 to go along with my 14 points as well. It's been the 4th quarter surges for the Knicks that have been the main factor of our dominance here in the 2nd series against the Celtics, and it looks like we're on track to do it once again here in Game 2. Ferran knew that was going in right as he let it fly. The lead swells back to 14. Boston, once again, just like in Game 1, they made it competitive all the way through the 4th, but the knockout punch is delivered by my hometown friend, and the lead would stay at double figures as the final buzzer rang out here in Madison Square Garden. We improved to 5-0 this postseason, 102-89. We hold the 10th best offense in the NBA to 89 points in the form of the Boston Celtics. And Clyde the Glide Frazier, I'm coming for that record, man. 16 assists tonight, 2nd all-time in the Knicks playoff game, while Frazier paces me by 3, but I'm hoping to break that at some point in my Knicks career. Ferran led all Knicks players with 25 tonight. 5 made 3 balls tonight. That's already 12 triples on the series for Ron in the first 2 games. 16 and 16 for me tonight. 1 steal and a block. The team defense was great. And Cade Cunningham even had a serviceable second half to triumph that 2 for 11 start. So moving all the way down the box score, Mitchell Robinson, again, a dozen rebounds. We out-rebounded the Celtics by 13 tonight. Kemba had 25. That was really the only caveat for tonight. He had his here in the fourth quarter, a lot of garbage time buckets I didn't really care too much about. And Jason Tatum, only 20. Once again, Cade Cunningham, the defense has been impeccable. Gotta love it from the rookie out of Oklahoma State. And all in all, man, the Knicks look very impressive. And some might say, hey, we've had a cupcake schedule. The Wizards had no business, being a 4th seed. Perhaps they were just a snowflake to ease us into the playoff slates, and they were just a regular season team. And then Boston took care of the best NBA team overall in the first round in 4 games. So some might say we've had a cakewalk up to this point. But I'll tell you one thing, as a lifelong Knicks fan, we could really care less about what the media has to say. And I mean, hey, look at that. Miami is also 1 win away from clinching an Eastern Conference finals appearance, just like we are. So if we win 1 more game against the C's in these next 2 games, back in the TD Garden up in Boston, we are most likely going to face the defending champions in the Miami Heat, the same Miami Heat that knocked me and the Pelicans off in the NBA Finals. So a little bit of a personal vendetta there if we can just win 1 out of these last 3 games against the Celtics. I can't believe, with all the turmoil this season, coming into the season as not a very highly regarded team, that we have a chance of playing for an NBA Finals appearance, potentially, if we can win 1 more game against the Celtics next episode and face the defending champions in the Miami Heat. So stay tuned for all that. I'll have that video coming next week. Also stay tuned for some NBA 2K22 gameplay, no series or anything, just some fun moments between me and you guys. I'll play a couple quick games and maybe a fantasy draft. And I'm also going to have a College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode episode coming very soon. So stay tuned for all that coming up. A lot of great content coming to you soon here on College Sports Revived.